Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Charine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we are discussing from the chapter 5 titled Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. So in this chapter, Lord Krishna is explaining us the practical way of applying the principles of Bhakti Yoga in terms of our thought process, in terms of our intellectual, direction, and also how practically we should have interaction with various situations and circumstances. This is what Krishna is trying to explain to us in this wonderful chapter known as Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. So from verse 20 onwards, Krishna was explaining the symptoms of a liberated soul. Brahma Bhuta. Okay, when a person has reached the stage of spiritual perfection, what will be his symptoms? Right? Krishna says in verse 20 that he is not rejoicing so much like an ordinary person when he's something pleasant is available, and he's not very much distressed when something unpleasant happens, which means too much elated when there is happiness and too much distress when there is distress. Happiness is, I'm jumping the sky, not like that. And he is self-intelligent, Krishna says, and he is not bewildered by the various situations, circumstances. He is fully fixed in the knowledge of science of God, and that way he is situated in that transcendental situation, transcendental position. And next Krishna says he is not interested in material sense gratification. Why? Because he knows that material sense gratification is any action of material sense gratification is the source of misery. It has a beginning, it has an end. So he is knowledgeable about these aspects from the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam and scriptures, that any addiction to material pleasures, it is only going to be an entrapment in material nature. Right? Prabhupada is very nicely telling in these two verses, 21 and 22, that self-realized soul is actually taking pleasure in spiritual activity. Material activity may give us a feeling of pleasure, a sense of pleasure, but actually it doesn't give any. Actually, it is only temporary, flickering, entangling pleasure. As Krishna says, that is going to give you a lot of miseries, a lot of distresses. It is a storehouse of distress. So, intelligent person or a person who is spiritually enlightened will not take pleasure in those activities. So, he is aloof from them. And Prabhupada quotes from the Bhagavata, Rishabhdev's instruction, how people are working very hard, laboring very hard for sense pleasure in the human form of life. But these sense pleasures, what is sense pleasure? Sense pleasure means which can give you enjoyment for the senses. Even animals are enjoying sense pleasures. Mainly sense pleasures are categorized in four headings. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitun. So, Rishabhdev says, as instruction to his 100 sons, even the stool-eating hogs are enjoying these pleasures. And they're working very hard to enjoy these very pleasures. And if humans also engage only in looking forward for these sense pleasures, then they are no better than animals. So advice of Lord Rishabhadev, who is incarnation of Lord Krishna, to his sons is that tapo divyam, engage in tapasya. Tapasya for divyatva. Divyatva means transcendence. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam. By this performance of tapasya, you will come to sattva guna. And in that way, you will enjoy Brahma Sukha. Same thing. As Krishna is again and again telling about Brahman, Brahman situation, right? Brahma Bhuta, Brahma Nirvana. And these words are continuously being used. Actually, Bhagavad Gita, even if impersonalists read now, he'll also get some knowledge about Brahman. Krishna is talking. And if some yogis read, they also get knowledge from their perspective. And Prabhupada's purports are all directed towards actual spirit of Krishna's message of bhakti, right? So whatever anybody wants, they'll get the knowledge here in Bhagavad Gita. The way they are looking at, or they want to see their limited perspective. Whereas the real understanding which Krishna gives here is about the bhakti yoga. So in the 20, 21, 22 verses, very clearly Krishna is giving the symptoms of a person who is self-realized. So in 23rd verse, Krishna explains that for this reason, Arjuna, it is good that we tolerate the urges of the senses from the very beginning of our life. And this sense control has to happen up to the end of our life. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat, Krishna says. Very important. It is a very important verse in Bhagavad Gita to remember always. Sometimes we may think, after some time we may need not control the senses. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was a sannyasi, Lord himself. But he was telling that even looking at the form of a woman made of wood, or a wooden doll of a woman, I get agitated. Just to tell us how opposite sex is a sort of a attraction. I was reading in Bhagavatam yesterday. There is a descendant of this Dhruva Maharaj, many descendants further. And one of the descendants is Prutu Maharaj. And Prutu has a descendant further called Prachina Barhi. Nice description is given. Actually, Bhagavatam is a history of this whole universe. So this Prachina Barhi was getting married to one girl by name Shatadruti. She was the daughter of the ocean god. Okay. And as you know, during marriage, there is a the bride and the bridegroom go around the fire sacrifice. Sat Fere, right? They do they go around the fire as as one of the rituals. So this Shatadruti was so beautiful that the fire god got attracted. Fire is supposed to be the witness and supposed to, bless the couple, but he got attracted. So in that context, Shukadeva Goswami, rather the Maitreya Rishi further explains, like this earlier also, when the Sapta Rishis were getting married to one girl by name Sukhi. She was also very beautiful. This fire god did the same mistake of getting attracted. At that time, fire god's wife, Swaha, she took the form of Sukhi, and it means she disguised herself as Sukhi, and she, was with fire god and made him happy. So like this, just to give an example of how Prabhupada explains us, how the sense gratification, especially sex pleasure, is so deep-rooted in our consciousness. That is the main cause, as Prabhupada says in the 21st verse purport. The highest pleasure in terms of matter is sex pleasure. right? The whole world is moving under this spell. And the materialist cannot work at all without this motivation. Right? This is what the material world is. Material world, as Prabhupada says in the 3rd chapter, one of the purports, Bhagavad Gita, is called Maithunya Agara, the shackles of sex life. Right? So like this, we have to understand the truths about this world from the various descriptions which is being given by the acharyas, so that we understand the reality of what is what and how to move forward in our spiritual life. Otherwise, we will think, oh, everything is going well. As Prabhupada says in 3rd chapter, 39th verse purport, in the material world, the center of all activities is sex. Thus, this material world is called Maithunya Agara, shackles of sex life. In ordinary prison house, criminals are kept within bars. Similarly, the criminals who are disobedient to the laws of Lord are shackled by sex life, the punishment. So, the advice given by Krishna to Arjuna in this 23rd verse is, control these urges of the senses. Kama, Krodha, Udbhavam, Vegam. There are so many Vegas, so many urges. As Rupa Goswami says, this urge, Vacho Vega, the urge to speak, and the urge of the mind, urges of anger, urges of the tongue, taste various things, urges of the stomach, urges of the genitals. So like this, there are 6 urges within our body which are constantly pushing us to indulge in sense gratification. So advice given by Krishna is that if you can tolerate these urges up to the point of your last point of your life, then Krishna says he is a yogi and he can live happily in this world. Right? So this is the point, very important point, because the transcendentalist knows the material pleasure is only an illusory pleasure. It's a false pleasure. It's just imitation of real pleasure in the spiritual world. He is not interested with this material pleasure. So that is that is his realization. He has got this complete understanding of this. Brahmavid, as Krishna says, he has realized this understanding. Right? So in that way, the transcendentalist is experiencing happiness within. 24th verse, Krishna says, Anta Sukha, Antararama, Antar Jyoti. He is rejoicing within, he is active within, he is happy within, right? And he is having complete knowledge about these various aspects of self-realization, right? Prabhupada says, a liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. When Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna and be happy, it is not simply some, create something in the mind. No. It is factual experience you can have when you start chanting Hare Krishna, the way Prabhupada has told us. So, Prabhupada says, a transcendentalist or a spiritualist can sit silently at any place, enjoy activities of life from within. You see. So, this is what is experienced by a yogi, a true perfect mystic. That's why he is called, the situation is called Brahma Nirvana. He is liberated in the Supreme. Right? And ultimately, he attains the Supreme. Brahma Bhutodi Gacchati. Already he is liberated. It's Jivan Mukta. He's just having this body for time being. But at once this body is no more, he'll go back to spiritual world. Once the material body is over, he'll go back to spiritual world. That is what it is being mentioned. So, the essence of these discussions, what we had just now is, the liberated person is no longer interested in external material pleasures, external material happiness. Right? So this is what is called Brahma Bhuta stage or spiritual advanced stage. Right? So Krishna is very clearly explaining these various wonderful aspects in this chapter. And now, verse number 25, Krishna explains, Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rishayah Kshina Kalmasha Chinnadvaida Yatatmanaha Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Right. So now Krishna is telling one who has come to this Brahma Nirvana. Brahma Nirvana, Prabhupada translates it as liberated in the Supreme. In a simple language, Jivan Mukta. Okay, who is not, Prabhupada was Jivan Mukta. He was looking like us, with a body. But his consciousness was highly elevated consciousness, spiritual consciousness. So, Labhante Brahma Nirvanam. So, what is his activities is being explained in this verse 25. So, this person who is liberated in the Supreme, he is actually Rishaya Kshina Kalmashaha. He's always, he's free from all sins. He is Rishi. Rishi means he is always seeing that he's not indulging in any sense gratification, like how ordinary materialists engage. He's always seeing that he is reducing Kshina Kalmasha. Prabhupada explains, Kalmasha means this contamination. Why we're in the material world? Why? Because we have interacted with this material world and created so many action-reaction cycles, the karma, vicious cycle of karma, and that is actually contaminated us, polluted our consciousness, right? The more we are indulging in action reactions in this material world, more you are entangled. This is what Krishna explains in 3rd chapter. Yagnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Karma bandhana means if you are not acting for Krishna's pleasure, it will only, the actions will only entangle you. Any action done for one's own purpose or one's own gratification without any direction of scriptures is going to entangle you, is going to bind you in the material world. Material bondage will only further enhance. So, the liberated soul is also showing everybody in a practical way that he is not increasing his entanglement or his bondage in the material world. Because in the modern day material world, you see, people are so absorbed in Maya Sukha. Prahlad Maharaj says, Maya Sukhaya Bharamudvahato Vimudha. They are so much absorbed in Maya Sukha, they don't know what they are doing. They are entangling themselves so much. And Prahlad Maharaj says they are Vimudha. Mudha means who is foolish. Vimudha means special fool. It's like Jnana, science. Jnana means knowledge. Vijnana means special knowledge or science. Like that. Anything added V means Vishesha. Vishesha Jnana. So Vishesha Mudha. So special fool. They are so foolish that they are completely absorbed in Maya Sukha. Maya Sukhaya Bharamudvahato Vimudha. So we are supposed to decrease the kalmasha. China kalmasha. Not we have to increase we have to go on increasing, or we don't know at what level we have increased, or heaps and heaps of pollution or contamination going on in our consciousness. So very nicely one story Prabhupada says how the modern day civilization is only increasing the contaminations. It's like it's only increasing our temperatures, Prabhupada says. Very nice story, he says. Once there was in a house, a rich man's house, the rich man's wife and the maid, both of them got fever. Okay. So the doctor came, he was diagnosing and he was keeping thermometer and both of their mouths separately. And then he found the rich man's wife temperature is 98 degrees. Little fever. And the maid's, fever is 103 degrees. Then this rich man's wife, when she heard she has got 98 degrees, the maid has got 103 degrees, she became angry at the doctor. I am rich man's wife. I am supposed to get more temperature, and this lady has got more. How is this? You're not a doctor. So this is our foolishness in the modern day world. How we want to, instead of decreasing the material, contamination, we want to increase our temperatures and die very soon and get entangled like this. This is what is going on. This, very nicely like this Prabhupada explains how Shina Kalmasha, we are not trying to decrease the contamination or pollution or the various dirty things in our consciousness, but increasing. And for this, the modern day media, the modern day way of communication and the mobile, internet, so many things are there to feel garbage in your mind every day. Tons and tons of garbage. Right? What you don't want also will go inside you. That is what is going on in the present day context. So like this, the modern day situation is become like that. You don't want also it goes. Right? Whereas the Vedic civilization is to decrease the sinful reactions or the contaminations we have. So the spiritually advanced personalities are very active to see that they are, in one sense, immunized by these various contaminations. As Prabhupada explains in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when you take prasadam every day, you are automatically immunized from all the various contaminations. Otherwise, eating anything other than prasadam is only going to further increase your contaminations. Very important regulation. I was just hearing one nice memory of Prabhupada from one devotee. She was a disciple of Prabhupada in 1970s. So she was just telling how Prabhupada told me only 3 things. One is chant Hare Krishna, read my books, and take and offer prasadam to me, offer food to me. Who? To Prabhupada, and have. That's what these 3 things you follow. Then when she heard these instructions from Prabhupada, she was saying it's very simple, but this has everything in it. When you chant Hare Krishna every day, which is actually the essence of what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us, then done. Your life is done. And reading Prabhupada's books nicely, clearly will give you so many directions. It will change your way of seeing things, and you will automatically change. You're chanting Hare Krishna, you're reading Prabhupada's books, and only taking prasadam. That is perfection of life. Nothing else. So this is the important instruction we have to follow. So labhante brahma nirvanam rishaya kshina kalmasha chinnadvaida yatatmanaha. So these self-realized souls are completely freed from all dualities. Beyond, Prabhupada says, beyond duality and doubt. Duality of honor, dishonor, name, fame. Right? Prabhupada very nicely explains. Somebody will call you dog. Immediately you'll feel, oh, no, I'm not a dog. I'm such a big man. Right? Somebody will call you hog. So when somebody is calling you bad names, you feel insulted. But a self-realized man, he will know, I am not this body. You call me dog, hog, donkey, whatever. I am a self-realized soul. I am Brahman realized. Right? So this is the point. He is beyond duality and doubt. Name, fame, honor, everything. Even Lord Rishabhadev's incarnation, we very nicely hear descriptions. When he was dressed like a madman. He was going around. People used to spit at him. They used to throw stones at him. But he was hardly bothered. This is the, one more advanced stage called Avadhuta stage. So like this, a Brahman realized person knows, I am not this body. I am spirit soul. Spirit soul has no designation of this material world. It is sarvopadi vinirmuktam. It is upadi free. Means no designations. It is only one designation. I am servant of Krishna. Just see. This is the point. So he is beyond duality and doubt. When there is duality, there is a doubt. Right? My neighbor has got a new car. Whether he has got it legally, illegally. Doubt. Right? My wife has cooked so nicely today. How did she learn? Doubt. So far, she was doing nothing. So like this, everything duality means doubt. Right? Beyond duality means no doubt. I am only one fixed up. And one more important aspect Krishna is explaining here, yatatmana sarvabhuta hite rata, is always engaged in welfare activities of all living entities. Just see, when you get this labhante Brahma Nirvana, come to this Brahma Nirvana stage, what are the various symptoms you see? Brahma Nirvana means the Brahma, Jivan Mukta stage you come, he is not engaged in any activity which will only which will not increase his contamination, he is beyond duality and doubt, and is engaged in welfare activities for all. We could see all these symptoms in Prabhupada's life. This last point which Krishna is mentioning, welfare activity for all living entities. Prabhupada very nicely explains, unless a person is in knowledge of Krishna, who is Krishna and what is my relation with Krishna, he will continue to suffer in this material world. Right? So this is what Krishna is going to conclude in this chapter towards the end. I am the supreme enjoyer, I am the supreme proprietor, I am the supreme friend. This consciousness had to be revived in our understanding. Then when whoever gives this understanding to the entire humanity, he is doing the highest welfare work. Right? Topmost welfare work. Prabhupada gives a nice small story. Once 100 rupee note was lying in the street. So a person who was passing by, he could do three things with this. One thing is, it is not mine, leave it there and go. First option. Second option is, he can take the 100 rupee note. Oh, very nice, 100 rupee I got today, Krishna has given me. So you put it in the pocket and use it for yourself. Right. So option one of not attending to that is not actually proper. Right. If you have not, done the right justice with regard to somebody's property, 100 rupee note, it is fallen, you just neglected and gone. Second option of using it for yourself also is not proper. Because it's somebody else. Chanakya Pranita says, others' property is like garbage. Right. So what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita is, the 100 rupee note actually belongs to Krishna. Or for that matter, in this case, you can say a proprietor. There is one owner who actually this 100 rupee note belongs to. Who is that owner? Find out and hand it over to him. That is the best welfare activity. Right. Similarly, what Prabhupada did for all of us is, we have been going around and doing so many things in the material world, not understanding the real purpose of our life. Prabhupada has come to revive our Krishna consciousness or our connection with Krishna. Make us understand we actually belong to Krishna. We have to go back to Krishna. We have our eternal relation with Krishna. That's the point. So this is the highest welfare, topmost welfare for the soul. Right? Not from the material point of view, from the spiritual perspective. Right? Materially also it will be best in one sense, if you properly follow the Krishna conscious principles. So, Prabhupada says, a person engaged only in ministering to the physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. Right? Very nice example Prabhupada gives in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The very first verse, Prabhupada says, saving the dress of a drowning man is of no use. Right? If you want to really save the person, you have to save the person, not the dress, only dress. Right? That's what Prabhupada says. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. Right? Whatever you do for this body, okay, as a humanity, from one level of point of view, you can do something, some help as a compassion. But real compassion will be when you save the soul, when you somehow awaken or give this understanding of one's forgetfulness of one's relationship with Krishna. That is the highest welfare activity you can do. Right? When a living entity can somehow revive his actual relation with Krishna, that is the highest welfare. Right? That is what the Jivan Muktas or the liberated souls do. Right? Once they have achieved this Brahma Nirvanam, they are engaged in these activities. Just see how nicely Krishna is explaining these things. Right? Further, Krishna says in verse number 26, Kama Krodha Vimuktanam Itinam Vitachetasam Avito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. So further, Krishna says, these personalities are free from kama krodha. Kama krodha, that is lust, anger, and they are, Krishna uses 3 words here. Yatinam, yatachetasam, viditatmanam. Viditatmanam means, vidit means vidvat. He is self-realized. He knows about his complete realization of who is he. Prabhupada says, what is self-realization? Self-realization means understanding that you as self is not this body, your spirit soul. Self. People think in different ways. Somebody is thinking, I am this body, I am the self. Body is the self. Somebody thinks mind is the self. Somebody thinks, intelligence is the self. No. When you understand that self means the spirit soul, I am that part and parcel of Krishna, that is self-realization. So one who is self-realized and one who is self-disciplined, Prabhupada says, yatinam, rather, yata chetasam, sorry. Prabhupada goes in the reverse order. First he says about viditatmanam, self-realized. Then yata chetasam, one who is self-disciplined. What is self-disciplined? Just like in the military, there's a discipline. You have to, get up at this time. You have to do this. I was just, having a talk with one of our donors. He was telling, today we have some of our friends from military coming to our house. They'll be, they'll be having dinner in our house. Oh, very good, I told. But we are a little tensed because these military people have their own discipline of, the table should be arranged in a particular way. The knife should be kept in a particular way. The fork should be kept in a particular way. Everything, it is little tension. Discipline, right? I think most of you will be aware of these aspects. They want discipline with regard to everything. So, it is good in one sense. But with regard to Krishna consciousness, what is the discipline a self-realized soul is having? He is self-disciplined means he is always disciplined to understand or think that I am not this body and spirit soul. That is the discipline he is following. Prabhupada explains. Self-discipline means he is disciplined to understand and also behave in a way that I am not body, I am spirit soul. Just see. It's a wonderful discipline it is. Discipline means strictly following a particular rules, regulations. Prabhupada says discipline, disciple. These are all connected words. From discipline comes disciple. Disciple means who is trying to follow the regulations, rules given by the Guru, spiritual master. So he is self-realized, viditatmanam. He is yatachetasam, self-disciplined, and he is yatinam. He is constantly endeavoring endeavoring for perfection. Let's see. This is how the self-realized souls are continuously engaged in various aspects of spiritual perfection. And Krishna says they are very soon will be liberated in the Supreme in the very near future. Which means again and again Krishna is assuring when the liberated souls, the Jivan Muktas are in the material world, their way of performing actions are such that every action they do, every activity they do is very much exemplary for the common people. They are not indulging in any actions of kama krodha. No material desires, no anger, material anger, how people become angry for their own personal gratification. No. This is what you could see in Prabhupada's personality in so many devotees' personal experiences. Right? Prabhupada was free from any material desires. He was not showing any material anger. He was self-realized, self-disciplined, disciplined in everything. Prabhupada, many devotees have recalled during Prabhupada's time that Prabhupada was so systematic in everything. Time to time he used to do everything. Recently I was hearing one morning walk. Prabhupada used to do a morning walk wherever he used to go in the world. So that day Prabhupada already had left for the morning walk, and some devotees generally used to accompany him. But one devotee was who was to come was little late. So that devotee was still running and wanting to join. Then when that devotee came and joined that group, Prabhupada's group, then Prabhupada asked, "Why are you late today?" "No, Prabhupada, you left a little early." So, and he told, "What is the time now?" Prabhupada started asking the watch. So Prabhupada said, "This is what is time now. I think your watch is not working properly." So this is just to give an indication how Prabhupada was so meticulous in his timings. Everybody knew this time Prabhupada will do this time Prabhupada will do this. That disciplined he was. Self-discipline. Self-discipline also means with regard to Krishna's service, you should be disciplined. Morning, we have to get up, means we have to get up in particular time. It's like in our temple life, we have a discipline of getting up and being ready. By 4:30, we have to be in the temple morning. Discipline. Right? And 7:15, we have Arati, Darshanarati. Like this, we have some discipline. So this discipline will actually make us, very, very structured way of working. Next chapter, again, Krishna is going to explain this about discipline. Right? Mental discipline, Krishna is going to explain. We'll see in the next chapter about that. So basically, self-discipline and constantly endeavoring for perfection, this is what we can see in their actions. Why all this is required and why this should be shown to everybody like this? Prabhupada explains, because in the conditioned souls, the desire for enjoyment of fruits or results is very deep-rooted. For any action you do, you want to enjoy the result for yourself. Right? So this deep-rooted desire for personal gratification is so much, you can say, conditioned in our existence. There's a nice statement which Prabhupada is quoting from Bhagavatam, 4th canto. This is the wonderful prayer which Prithu Maharaj is offering to Lord Vishnu. He says that even great sages are not able to control the forces of senses. Right? Because the desire to enjoy. Prabhupada gives example of Vishwamitra Muni, so many other sages, and we discussed about the demigods like fire god, and we have many examples of Chandra also in Bhagavatam. Like this, there are ample examples to show how this desire to enjoy or the deep-rooted desire for sense gratification is very much ingrained in the consciousness. That is why we are in the material world. Whereas a devotee who is constantly engaged in endeavoring for perfection or striving towards perfection, he is not affected by these things. That's what this verse is telling. Right? Just worship Vasudeva, Bhaja Vasudevam. Why? Because those who are engaged in this service to Krishna, they can uproot all these very deep-rooted desires for sense gratification. Right? So that is what this Prabhupada is trying to tell us. And this constant engagement in Krishna consciousness is so wonderful. Prabhupada is quoting from one of the scriptures, how just being in constant touch with Krishna in one of the services, by chanting, by reading Bhagavad Gita, trying to follow the instructions, and whatever best way you can do and trying to give this knowledge to others, just 24 hours become engaged in these services. What happens? Krishna confirms that Krishna will definitely take them back. Right? They'll get the Brahma Nirvana. That's what is assurance given here by Krishna. Very soon they'll come to me. They'll achieve that destination and reach me. So here, very nice example is given of 3 animals. Matsya, Kurma, Vihangama. Fish, tortoise, and birds. What they do? They maintain their offsprings in their own ways as per the material nature's arrangement. the Matsya, the fish, just by their vision. Once they lay the eggs, they keep seeing them, and the eggs are hatched. Basically, this to give understanding that they are meditating on that. They are seeing, and Kurma, they lay eggs in the land, on the land, and they come to the water, and they're meditating on the eggs they have hatched. And that will grow into a baby, right? So like that, Matsya by dhyana, the meditation, and the birds, just by touching the eggs they have laid, they grow into offsprings. So likewise, Prabhupada explains, a devotee in Krishna consciousness, he may be far away from Krishna. Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan, but he is in the material world, devotee in the material world. But simply by constantly in touch with Krishna, by chanting Hare Krishna or any devotional service to Krishna, he immediately gets transferred to Krishna Loka. Just see. That is the example, wonderful example is being given here. The devotee will not feel this. Actually, Brahma Bhuta or Brahma Nirvana, all this basically means you are not affected by this material contamination, material miseries, right? So, absence of material miseries and constantly absorbed in Krishna's, understanding and Krishna's service is what is called Brahma Nirvana. That's what Prabhupada's life was. You can see practically. So, now this is the perfection a devotee is going to have if we can somehow or other absorb our minds in Krishna's service. That's why we can see in the 7th chapter, very beginning, Krishna says, Maya Sakta Mana Partha. Somehow you fix your mind on me, Maya Sakta. Mana. Your mind should become fixed or attached to me, Krishna says. The whole Bhagavad Gita, if you see, Krishna is telling this particular phrase of getting attached to him. Maya Sakta, Mana Partha means my mind getting attracted to him or attached to him. Mayeva Mana Adhatsva, Mayi Buddhim. Like this in the 12th chapter, Krishna again says. So basically, our mind becoming fully absorbed in Krishna thoughts. Is what is the purpose of our performance of bhakti. Okay, so having said this much, now Krishna is going to explain to us. Okay, now Arjuna will be thinking, okay, Krishna absorbing my mind in you. For Brahmavadis, it is Brahman. For yogis, it is Paramatma. For devotees, it is Krishna. So give me one practical method how to do this. Will be his natural question. So, anticipating this question of Arjuna, Krishna is now going to explain an authentic Vedic process known as the Ashtanga Yoga. So now in this next two verses, 27-28, there is a prelude for this, which Krishna is going to elaborate in the 6th chapter. Okay. To achieve this Brahma Nirvana, or come to the stage of Brahma Bhuta, what should I do? Now Arjuna seems to have understood performance or absorbing of my mind in your service always is what I am supposed to be doing. But coming to that stage will require some step-by-step process. Just like you say, this child has to become a doctor. Not that tomorrow that child will become doctor. It has to go through some schooling, college, medical college. This is a step-by-step process, right? Likewise. So Krishna wants to give an authentic process as given in the scriptures, wherein any practitioner following this can come to the stage of Brahma Nirvanam or Brahma Bhuta stage. But later on we'll see Krishna, after explaining this, Arjuna will actually say, this process is not practical for me, not endurable for me. Then Krishna will say, okay, the best is Bhakti Yoga. So this is basically an exercise to again emphasize other process of yoga, dhyana or jnana are not practical for this Kali Yuga. Nevertheless, they are all authentic processes. Just like Ayurveda, homeopathy, allopathy, etc., all are going to treat your disease. But what is more suitable for your body and for your various aspects of your element is what matters. So from all the conclusion of various scriptures, the most easiest and the most sublime and the quickest process of purification for all the living entities is Bhakti Yoga. Right? That's why this Bhakti Yoga's importance, to highlight the Bhakti Yoga's importance towards the end of 6th chapter, this sort of a prelude is given, because definitely people are there, oh, what about this yoga? What about that yoga? What about that process? Ashtanga Yoga also is we can do. Yes, you can do, but not everybody. Nevertheless, the principles of this Ashtanga Yoga are very wonderful, which will be very much applicable to many of the aspects of Bhakti Yoga also. In that way, understanding the Ashtanga Yoga, which Krishna explains as Sankhya Yoga in the next chapter, is important for us. Many, many fine principles are there, which are very much Prabhupada explains nicely in the context of Krishna consciousness, all of them. So understanding them is very important, very, very wonderful, because many, many wonderful fine aspects we can also apply in our Krishna consciousness life. Okay, so in 27-28, Sparshan kritva bahirbahyam chakshus chaivantare bhruvoh pranapano samo kritva nasabhyantara sharino yatendriya manobuddhir munir moksha parayanah vigatecha vayakrodho yes sada mukta eva saha. Krishna is giving the process, shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence. The transcendentalist becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. Yes, see. Step by step it is. Finally, you'll come to the stage of liberation. But it is a process which one has to follow. So what is Ashtanga? Ashtanga means there are 8 steps in this whole process of this yoga system called Ashtanga Yoga. So the 8 steps are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, then Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Next chapter, we're going to see them, all of them explained in a much more detailed manner. But right now, a prelude, as I told you, introduction is being given. Yama, Niyama basically means the do's and don'ts of the process. What you should do, what you should not do. Many things are there. Right? Just like we'll see in the next chapter, Krishna is going to explain. You have to go to a very sacred place. That is the do. The seed what you're going to do should not be too high or too low. Right? You have to have a deer skin or tiger skin. Like this, many, many do's and don'ts are there. Yama, Niyama, Asana. Asana means the various yogic postures. That is called asana. Why all these things have to be done? First of all, to control the mind. Then the mind is controlled, because mind is going everywhere now, all over the world. It's going on a world tour every moment. Right? I think there was a movie, around the world in 80 days. No, not 80 days, every second. Right? So, world mind is going everywhere with the technology and everything being artificial intelligence and so many things coming up. You're not even in this world, you'll go to some other world also, illusory world. Okay. So, Yama, Niyama, Asana. Asana means some specific postures. You have to sit in a specific way. You have to, as Krishna is telling us here, you have to concentrate. You should not close your eyes fully, because if you close, you might sleep also. So you should half open and concentrate on the tip of the nose. Just see. Because Prabhupada says in many, many yoga societies we have seen, people have been told to, close their eyes and they are snoring. So badly snoring, because in the house they don't get sleep. At least in the yoga society, they come for half an hour and take rest. So that they say as Ah, very nice meditation I had. Good sleep they had. So for that they'll pay. So like these things are happening, that is called Shavasana, right? Shavasana means you just have to lie down and they'll be talking something for 2 minutes only. After that, you'll go to deep sleep. I have I have personally experienced. I'd been to one, some camp like that. It's very long back. Everybody were told to, relax, lie down. And what you should do? Go on listening what we are telling you. Only for 2 minutes, everybody listened. Their person was talking so many things. Everybody slept. And they had to wake up by ringing a bell. They were all snoring. Okay. So asana, yama, niyama, rules, regulations, asana, then pranayama. Pranayama means within our body, there are different types of life airs, prana. It is, as Krishna explained in 4th chapter also, that there are some airs going up, some airs going down. Some airs are maintaining some equilibrium, right? Udana, Vyana, like this, there are 5 types of airs within the body. So this pranayama means specific types of breathing exercises to neutralize upcoming inward, as Krishna is telling us here. Pranapano samo kritva, right? Suspending the inward, outward breaths, puraka, rechaka, kumbhaka, all these things. All technical words. And nowadays people are thinking this very big thing. It is only one of the, actually see one important revelation Prabhupada gives us is, these are only one of the steps of the 8 steps. That is not the end. Doing asana, yog karo, aap nirog ho jaoge. Means with you do yoga, you will not have any disease. Yoga is not meant to, make you disease free. Yoga is meant to give you liberation, basically. Right? Now people thinking yoga means only one type of, asana. No. Or one type of pranayama. No. It's one of the parts, one of the steps. And all of them are meant to, yoga indriya samyam, you have to control your mind, senses, and finally focus on Supreme. So, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Pratyahara means mind will be agitated. That demand, this plan, this, this desire. So, all that is rejected. Pratyahara. Right? Then, after that, you are supposed to, have dharana. Dharana means placing Krishna in your heart. Other is there already, realizing that. Dharana means mind now getting distracted from so many other material things. It is focusing on dharana. It is fixing on Krishna within the heart as super soul. Then this increased fixing of Krishna in the heart is called dhyana. More and more, it is intensified. Right? Then finally samadhi. Samadhi means there is no other thought other than Krishna thought within the heart. The yogi is fully, free from all material distractions. That is the last stage of means dharana, dhyana, samadhi are all very elaborately described in Bhagavata, 2nd canto, initial chapters. Shukdev Goswami explains them. So, like this, these various steps are being described as part of the Ashtanga Yoga, and it's a very authentic process. And in Kali Yuga, not everybody can practice this, right? Basically, as I told you, they're all meant to finally make you realize that you're not this body, your spirit, soul. And understanding this, you will be liberated. And as a matter of result of this practice is what? You'll become free from vigata, ichha, bhaya, krodha. You'll become free from desire, fear, and anger. Right? So, Krishna also said the same thing in the 2nd chapter also. Anybody remembers? Vita raga bhaya krodha manmaya mam itarir manuchyate. Verse number 56, 2nd chapter, Krishna says this. Dukheshu anadvignamana sukeshu vigataspраha vita raga bhaya krodha vigata ichha bhaya krodha. Same thing. Raga means attachment. Ichha to various desires. So basically, bringing various spiritual practices should finally free you from material desires, material fear, and material anger. Right. One more verse in the 4th chapter also Krishna explains, na? Vitaraga bhaya krodha. I'll just open that verse. Yes. In 10th verse, 4th chapter, Krishna also explains this. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya ma upashrita. After Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam. Right. So like this becoming free from material desires, becoming free from the material type of fear and material type of anger is very important in spiritual practice. So then you can realize the presence of super soul within the heart. In that way, gradually move forward in our practice of spiritual understanding. So this is the whole process. We'll understand more in the 6th chapter. But right now, as a prelude, this is what is being described. And towards the end of this chapter, I'll take a few more extra minutes. We'll conclude. It is a very wonderful verse. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim pritchati. Right? This is known as the peace formula. The formula for peace Krishna is giving. What is Krishna telling? Bhoktaram yajna tapasam, which means Krishna is telling, I am the enjoyer. I am the bhokta. I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities. Yajna tapasa. And which means basically Krishna is saying, I am the supreme enjoyer. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the supreme proprietor. I am the supreme lord of all planets and demigods. And Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the benefactor of all living entities. When you understand this, Gyatva, one who knows this, then Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. One who knows, I am this. I am the supreme enjoyer. I am the supreme proprietor. I am the supreme well-wisher. If you know these three things, then Krishna says about him, then you will attain freedom from material miseries, or rather you become peaceful. Why this is called peace formula? It's a very important thing Prabhupada explains in different contexts. Very important verse. Prabhupada keeps quoting this verse again and again. These three aspects of proprietorship, enjoyership, and the feeling of I am the caretaker is what all of us are trying to imitate in the material world. Right? Any activity, the result, I want to enjoy. Right? Enjoyership, enjoyer mood, the mood of enjoyment. And I want to own as many things as possible. I am the owner of this property, I am the owner of this factory, I am the owner of this much wealth. Under me, so many things are happening. This ownership, proprietorship, sense of I am the Lord. This also is very prominent in the material world. I am the Lord of all I survey. And thirdly, the sense of being, well-wisher for everybody. Oh, because of me, so many families are happy. I helped this, I helped that, as though you are doing everything. This feeling. So actually you are not doing anything, but you are trying to imitate Krishna. When you imitate Krishna, you will lose your peace. When you understand what is your real position, I am not the enjoyer, I am not the proprietor, I am not the well-wisher. It's Krishna who is the actual supreme enjoyer, supreme well-wisher, he is a supreme proprietor. Then only you can be peaceful. Right? So this is the, I request you, all of you, to go through this purport. It's an interesting purport. Prabhupada explains in detail. I just gave you the principle of this verse. Basically, this is supposed to be applied in every aspect of our dealing. In every thought process, in every dealing, in every interaction with everybody, this is what you're supposed to see things. When you think, oh, I am going to help, or I am, even in a family, if the head of the family thinks, oh, because of me, this family is being maintained, that is wrong. You should understand that I have been given the opportunity as a being part of this family, and on behalf of Krishna, I am doing my duty. Right? So like this, we should always understand, we should never claim proprietorship, that is ownership, and claim the sense of enjoyment. Oh, I am the enjoyer. I want to enjoy. I have worked hard, so I have to enjoy. This mood is wrong. This is what Krishna has been telling. In fact, the whole Bhagavad Gita is talking about these three things only. We are falsely claiming proprietorship. We are falsely claiming the enjoyment. That's why Krishna says, Nirmama, Nirahankara. You are not this body. You are not the owner. Krishna is the owner. Right? I'm spirit soul. I'm part and parcel of Krishna. Nirmama, Nirahankara, Nirapeksha, Niswartha. This is what Krishna wants us from this whole episode of Bhagavad Gita to understand. So, we go on imitating this from very gross level to subtle level, these three things. It's a very interesting subject matter. We will keep discussing this because this keeps coming every now and then throughout the Gita. And Prabhupada has elaborately spoken about this subject in many, many lectures and many, many, talks in that way. He keeps quoting this. Very simple. Three things you have to remember to be peaceful. Krishna is the only proprietor. Krishna is the only enjoyer. Krishna is the supreme well-wisher. Right? You simply want to imitate these positions in different capacities, different ways. That is going to spoil your peace. If you remember in second chapter also, Prabhupada explained this particular thing very nicely in verse number 66. Prabhupada says this. If you see, in the purport, Prabhupada says, actually this verse is, Krishna is telling how to have happiness, how to be really happy. Right? In that context, Prabhupada explains, unless one is Krishna conscious, there is no possibility of peace. Right? Very next statement Prabhupada says in the purport. If you open that purport, if you see, it is confirmed in 5th chapter that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all good results of sacrifice and penance, he is the proprietor of all material manifestations. I'm speaking from 2nd chapter, 66th verse. And that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Just see. It is repeated. This statement, Prabhupada from the beginning is repeating it. It's a very basic understanding of Krishna consciousness. Right? Some few basic things are there. I am not the body and spirit. So, Dehi nosmi netha dehe. Then the real position of Krishna in this material world. He is the actual enjoyer. He is the real proprietor. He is the real well-wisher. That's all. Only then you can have real. This is the mind should be fixed in this way. Anything else is only simply disturbance of mind. Right? The different wars going on now is only because of that. So Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition, which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Prabhupada says all these wars can be stopped immediately when every countryman understands everything belongs to Krishna. Why am I fighting? The Ukraine war, Russia war going on, or the Israel-Hamas war going on, war, only for a piece of land. Right, finally, we are the owners. They say, I am the owner. No, let us fight. The Kashmir war, why it is going on? Pakistan says, we are the owners. India says, we are the owners. They are fighting. Proprietorship. The matter of proprietorship. Once proprietorship comes, then I can enjoy. Just see, it's all boils down to that. The basic misconception, misunderstanding of people. Who is the actual owner? And Prabhupada gives one more very nice, interesting perspective. We have a department called Immigration Department, wherein before you enter into any other country, you are supposed to complete all the formalities of visa, the passport, etc., etc. Only then you are allowed into other country. Right? Otherwise, they will stop you. They will deport you back if you are having some problem. Right? So, Prabhupada says, this shows how even if you are highly educated, even then you are checked at the airport. which means everybody is dishonest. First thing. And secondly, everybody has made his own demarcation, telling that this is my land, you cannot come. This is your land, you cannot come. You only be there. This is like dogs making their area. Mera ilakha hai. Right? See, one dog in your street, some other dog from other street comes, this dog will be very angry. It will start barking. So Prabhupada says like this, we also go to some other country, the other country people are barking at you. Bow, bow, bow. Prabhupada says immigration department is like bow, bow department. It has no other work. Everything belongs to Krishna. Why don't you go? We should be easily going anywhere and everywhere. Why are you having these restrictions? Again, because people are not aware of Krishna is the supreme proprietor, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, Krishna is the supreme well-wisher. Everybody has their own conception. Oh, we are the enjoyers, we are the proprietors. So this contamination, the enjoyership, proprietorship, and the well-wishership is subtle from an individual to collective level. I've heard many such news, maybe all of you are familiar, how in some countries, people are becoming very insecure that, oh, you people from India are coming and taking away our jobs. Right? They're becoming very insecure. So like this, they want to, kill them or do something, some harm, like this. Things are going. So all basic problem is the disturbance of peace or agitation and war is not having this knowledge. That's why Krishna says in this verse, Jnatva. Once you come to know this, when you know this point, that's it. Then you are always peaceful. Oh, Prabhupada says, Krishna conscious society. People, we have devotees from all over the world. All of us are very peacefully living together. Whereas I was just hearing yesterday some small clip somebody had sent to me from about Ram Janma, that Ram temple. How there was a lot of agitation, a lot of history, as one history. How there was so much agitation and the temple, Babri Masjid was broken and so many things. And then at one point of time, there were many car sevaks traveling in the train. And then and they were going through that, and some Muslims are sitting in the train also. And they were all getting agitated. They were feeling so angry that, the devotees of Lord Ram are getting, so much tormented and punished. So they wanted to they wanted to somehow show their anger on these Muslims that they controlled. It's like this acts of vengeance and ill feelings, war, agitation, all is because we don't have that basic understanding, the platform of peace. That's what Prabhupada says. If you keep a pack of dogs in one place, 10 dogs, they cannot be peaceful even for some time. They'll start barking at each other. The human beings have become like that. Just like, when you see practically India-Pakistan war, it's not war, cricket match. There's a tense situation. Oh, what happens? What happens? Even now, Ayodhya issue has become so serious issue. People are all thinking, why? Why simple? So like this, it's all communal and made it into a politically, sort of a color given to them. So it is all because of not having the basic understanding of the Vedic knowledge, what Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita. Who is the proprietor? Who is the owner? Who is the enjoyer? This point. That's why it is called peace formula. Very important. And in fact, Prabhupada, in 1966, when Prabhupada was in the very initial days in ISKCON, there was a Vietnam War, which was declared by America, and many American youth were being recruited for the war. There's a lot of agitation amongst the youth. We should not fight against Vietnam. So there's many youth who are all trying to come to Prabhupada's place and trying to follow. That time they were all telling Prabhupada about the current situation. And Prabhupada, he wrote an essay, The Real Peace Formula. Same short essay. It is there in Science of Self-Realization. So that essay, Prabhupada made it into a pamphlet. Same message, what Krishna is giving here. The peace formula is given in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says. So he says, if you can somehow follow this, or there will be peace and prosperity everywhere without any much endeavor. They made this into a pamphlet and distributed in front of United Nations that time, 1966. With these young followers there, the youth, they all distributed in thousands those pamphlets. This is the understanding about this verse. We'll keep discussing about this verse more and more, and it is called peace formula. Okay, so you should remember this Shanti Sutra. Okay, so we'll close here. If anybody has anything to ask and discuss, we can take a few questions. Hare Krishna. Okay, so nothing. Then we'll close now. We'll continue our discussion in the next with the next chapter next week. Okay, thank you everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.